Wait. But
Yo. Welcome back to the Out the Box Show. I'm John Wallace alongside my co-host James Luffy and Rory Luke. And we have a packed show for you guys. This whole show is going to be dedicated to the fall 2022 TV show premiere slate. I do want to talk a little bit about House of the Dragon. Have either of you watched that yet?
Yes, I'm caught up. I watched Sunday night.
I'm caught up as well.
Watched live Sunday night.
Worth it? Worth watching?
Yes, 100%.
Worth watching. I'm also in the midst of a Big Brother as well, BB24. Very solid season if you're a Big Brother fan.
Okay.
Definitely a very good season.
As we kind of go down the list here, and we're gonna break down all of these from what we expect in the coming episodes of this season, all the way to the every season leading up to this one. I see the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, that drops September 1st. Rick and Morty, season 6. That drops September 4th. So that's Sunday night.
Okay.
You might have watched that as well, Luffy. Cobra Kai, this Friday night drops season 5 of Cobra Kai. We got the Serpent Queen, and I don't recognize any of these shows other than that. But all that to say, we're going to break down all that because there's no point talking about sports anymore because LSU lost by 1 point in the Dome. And we have a packed show for you guys, so can't wait to get to it. I want to give a huge shout out to the Boot Crew Media Network, bootcrewmedia.com. They are going to be with you through the thick and thin of the college football season, the NFL football season. Got NFL kicking off this week, and it's just a great time of year for content. Chris Calderera actually posted an article today recapping the LSU Florida State game. Some of his opinions, if you've already read it, are going to be mimicked here, and we will definitely be addressing some of the stuff that he brought up in his article as well. He's also got an article coming out today. It probably, as you're listening to this, dropped this morning on the college. So he had a recap today. The day before you're listening to this, and then today he is dropping another one on the college football playoff expansion. So maybe something to get your eyes off of the LSU Florida State stuff, and maybe get you looking a little bit further ahead into the future. But all that to say, the Boot Crew Media Network has great content. Make sure to check them out. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to Blaine Loop with Keller Williams Realty. Blaine Loop is the best in the business. I saw on Facebook. And to be honest with you, he's not a guy that likes to shout out his accomplishments and whatnot, but he just kind of did a thank you post to all those who have supported him and whatnot. And I believe in the last month, make sure to fact check me on this, Rory, if you could fact check me on this, but
gotcha.
I believe he sold $3.5 million in real estate last month, which if you've been listening to this episode while we've been pumping Blaine up and whatnot, that number's only gone up. I mean, a few months ago, it was like $1 million, and then
6 month span.
Oh, okay, 6 month span. So the number is going up with a falling housing market. That was the point of the post. So I'm glad you fact checked me on that. But all that to say, with a down housing market, you need the best of the best to help you find the home of your dreams, sell the old home of your dreams to find the new home of your dreams, find people to rent out your investment property, or find you somewhere to rent. He goes all over. He will help you out in Baton Rouge, Nolans, all over the South Louisiana area. He might even be able to help you out elsewhere. You will only know if you give Blaine a call. Make sure to call or text him at 504-858-0031 for all your housing needs. All right. I think kind of a theme of the show is going to be a recap of the game, not to rub salt in the wounds, but to address some of the things we knew, some of the things we didn't know, some of just the unacceptable stuff that LSU fans witnessed on Sunday night. We, as much as it might be good to talk about the new shows that are coming out this fall, it's football season and we're still pumped for it, and we're in it for the long haul. I guess what we'll do is we're going to get y'all's initial thoughts on the game, quick 1 minute drill. and then kind of go through, big plays of the game and then kind of our takeaways and what we'd like to see going forward.
Well, do you want to go through and we'll just go kind of like big plays, like you said, and then we'll go position by position after we finish the game recap and kind of think what each position could be or will be going forward. I feel like that'll be an easy way for me to like organize it and go through it.
That's kind of how I got it. I just
overall,
want to hear, I want to hear your overall Minuteman recap of Sunday.
I mean, it was extremely disappointing. It felt like when we had opportunities in the first half to score and punch it in, we couldn't do it. We shot ourselves in the foot. And then obviously in the second half, Daniels came alive. He played his ass off and kept us in that game. And we had a chance to win, but again, shot ourselves in the foot. And then finally losing the best player on our team in the first series stung a lot.
Rory?
Yeah. Now that I've kind of had time to like come down from Sunday night and watching it, it was bad, but I don't think it was as bad as I thought it was Sunday night. Obviously, we still shouldn't have lost that game, but it just looks like a game where, I mean, we were down 4 going into the first half, which we shouldn't have been. We kind of hung around the whole game, and I just don't think it was as much of a meltdown and like a season ender. I mean, it's obviously, this team, you have to curtail your expectations, that this is our first year team. Anything over 7 wins, you're winning money on Vegas. So I still think this is a 7-8 win team. I don't change that. I think that maybe this doesn't happen if you, again, have the first guy out and play a cupcake team week 1. I think there's a huge difference. But looking back, I don't think it was as bad, 2 days later as it was Sunday night.
All that to say, I tend to agree with you, Rory. I am a little bit more down, but we'll kind of go through that. So, okay, so first drive of the game, LSU starts on the 35-yard line. Florida State kicks it out of bounds. First play from scrimmage, Jaden Daniels runs for 25 yards. We're thinking, okay.
And we get a penalty too. I mean, it's like a 40-yard game.
Right. We're thinking, all right, let's roll. LSU drives down the field. I believe that was the drive where Kayshawn had the contested touchdown in the end zone that was dropped.
Yeah.
That was a tough play. I mean, one that you would hope that he would make, and one we needed him to be a star in the game. And couldn't come up with it. But we had, again, I think we were on the 6 or 7 yard line after Armani Goodwin rushed for first down.
Right. And I think, the reason we bring that up, it's like, okay, yes, not to say he definitely should have caught the ball because it was a contested play, but I feel like the attitude and being able to get on the board in that fashion, your All-American guy scoring a touchdown would have been huge. But that's fine. First drive, jitters of the game. But then all of a sudden, you have the bad snap, minus 14 yards. Jaden Daniels, thank God he was able to get on it, but we end up kicking a field goal. You lose. I mean, I feel like everybody in the stadium knew when they saw Mason Smith kind of go down. Like I was on the opposite side of the field, kind of in the corner, but just the way they were like carrying him off the field, it was almost like just a foregone conclusion that he was done for the year. It just felt like it.
Yeah, you knew it was an ACL. Just already. As they're taking him to the sideline, he goes in the tent, he goes off into the locker room, and he's like visibly upset. And when you see that, a non-contact thing, you know it's bad, and that's brutal. There's no replacing Mason Smith. I mean, I after going to practice, I thought maybe the most valuable player on this team pre-going to practice was Will Campbell, but after we went to the practice that one day, I thought it was Mason Smith because he was that dominant. And we talked about it for so long leading up to this game, but the defensive line needed to just wreak havoc on their offensive line for us to win this game. And him going down it hurt a lot. I mean, Mekhi Wingo, he played a great game. I think he finished with like 6 tackles, but it's a that would potential first overall pick that you lost.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. The play that he got injured on, he was 5 yards in the backfield when they were handing off the ball.
Yep.
You know?
I mean, they blew up that run play. I mean,
He blew it up.
it takes 2 guys. I mean, they were blocking him with 2 guys. I went back. I only got to the end of the first half, but they were blocking him on that drive with two guys because there isn't a way to block him. Yeah, there wasn't a way to block him if not. And I mean, it is the worst injury, I'll say, that we could have had.
Yeah. It's tough, and you feel bad for him. I mean, glad
Terrible.
that he, at least he gets to come back next year. But I mean, still terrible injury. You feel bad for the guy. He was obviously cared about it. Obviously cared about this team. They panned to him. I mean, y'all probably didn't. You might have saw this after the fact, but they panned to him in the second half, and he's like, there's literally tears running down his eyes in the second half.
It stinks. It stinks for him. I mean, he's been working all summer, and on the first series, he goes down on a non-contact, and it sucks for LSU fans. I mean, we're gonna only get to see him for 1 year next year, so maybe a fully grown like college stud, but yeah. So that was a brutal loss. I mean, I was very sad when that happened.
Yeah. So that happens. LSU's defense was able to kind of shore it up for the rest of the drive. Florida State missed the field goal, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, at the very least, this is going to be an exciting kind of level playing game. The next crucial drive, LSU, I believe this was let's see. All right, so LSU gets the ball, doesn't do anything with it on the next drive. Then Florida State gets it back in the second quarter, middle of the second quarter, flea flicker reverse. I think there's nothing you can say about that other than we got burned. Props off to the flea flicker reverse. I don't know how LSU could have been more prepared for that other than, hey, it's the first game. This is Florida State. Like, they're going to try to pull out all their stops. They know we're an experienced defense. We probably should look out for the D-ball. But all that to say, that happens. LSU down 7-3. It was at the beginning of the second quarter. My bad. Then this is kind of the second quarter. The first quarter, everybody's feelings at the end were, okay, like we're hanging around. Second quarter is when things started to go south, right? LSU gets the ball back. You drive down you get within the red zone. I believe it was Cam Wire that jumped off sides.
Yeah.
Kayshawn was visibly upset, as well as the rest of the team. But I think everybody kind of noticed Kayshawn kind of snapped a little bit. Okay, that's fine. Next play, he goes in motion, comes around the right side, and gets hit in the chest with a ball from Jaden Daniels, pretty much in the end zone. I feel like that was the first point where everybody was like, "What does this team like? Are they aware of what's going on right now? Are they all like focused? Where is the focus?" And that was kind of the start of just and I hate to use the word atrocious, but the atrocious mistakes. I'm going to use costly, not atrocious, but the very costly mistakes that kind of withered away this LSU team to eventually not win.
Yeah, I mean, no excuse there. Daniels kind of took equal blame for it, but it wasn't on him. He, said it was a miscommunication. I mean, it literally bounced off his chest, like you said. So, that's a huge momentum killer. Did you say the field goal was blocked right after that?
And then that's the thing. It just seemed like the first thing that kind of set this team just spiraling out of control. And you come away with no points in a like early on in the game in a season like this where you have so much new going on, you have to jump on them early, right?
Yeah, I mean, we had multiple times to, like I'd said in the recap, take advantage of our opportunities in the first half, and we just didn't do it. And it's got to block the field goal up. I mean, that's obviously was a problem at the end of the game, but it's just, we really needed a touchdown there. So, and you can't have your best player get hurt on the first drive and then your second best player drop a touchdown on the, the next possession. So that was rough. Anything on that?
I mean, I agree. I
Or
I mean, I
pondering.
don't want to talk about like the. I mean, I guess we'll get to it later, but like the missed field goal or the blocked field goal. I mean, well, I'll talk about it later at the end when we talk about that block extra point. But I mean, I agree. You can't shoot yourself in the foot, and that's why I kind of look back and it's like we shot ourselves in the foot twice. Really should be 14. I mean, 14-7 at best, maybe, or 14-10 at best. But we definitely should have 14 points. Shot ourselves in the foot twice, and absolutely killer mistakes both times.
Yeah, and
Uh,
then left our defense out on the field for a while, and they had a couple of times having trouble getting off the field on third down, and we kind of got lucky before the end of the half when they missed the field goal, which they just missed. We did not block, right? Yes,
Yes.
they just pushed that off, but defense did a nice job kind of keeping it in it in the first half. I mean, there's definitely some deficiencies on defense, but yeah, they I thought played pretty hard.
wait, they missed. You mean the first field goal?
No, yes. So they missed the first field goal, and then we had our field goal blocked.
Yeah,
Then,
yeah.
yes. Then
Then they went for it on 4th and 2
Yeah,
and didn't
sorry,
get it.
I'm out of order. Yes,
Yes.
big stop for the defense there. And
then that's when the punt and the muff. The
Yes.
first of
Yeah.
two muff punts, which and I guess since that's where we're at, we'll go ahead and address the first one. The first one, I was just like, okay, this happens. Pregame jitters, first time returning a punt in the dome, live game. Which, by the way, this was a point I was going to bring up at the end, but I don't know if you could tell by on TV, and I actually hate myself right now for wearing this shirt, this red shirt. I did not think at all that I did not think about it this morning. I'm normally, no matter what, after an LSU win or loss, I'm wearing an LSU shirt at work. But all that to say, I didn't have any clean clothes. So it was about half and half in the dome. Florida State.
It was packed. It was loud and it was packed.
And I could even feel it. I mean, I was up at the 600s. I could feel Florida State there, right? Their presence was known. They were cheering loud. And it was about half and half. Did it feel like that watching it on TV, Rory?
So, I mean, what they said on TV was like 60-40, but I mean, the commentators, and you saw it on Twitter as well, like they talked about almost like the Florida State fans were louder is what they felt like.
Yeah.
It honestly felt like that.
It was, well, I mean, part of it was like the momentum, like we're talking about. Like it was loud in there. Like at first, if we would have scored on that first drive, it would have been so loud when we were on defense, and it still was for that first drive. But it was like we didn't even do anything or have the ball in that first half. Like, dude, really,
it seems like LSU fans, like at least me and the guys I was sitting with, shout out Mills and Brad. Like, it seems like LSU fans just get more deflated whenever we miss big plays like that. It just seems like the wind kind of gets knocked out of us a little bit more because maybe it's because we're just so used to and spoiled to expect plays like this. I'll be honest, I definitely got a little bit down. I didn't think it was over by any means, but yeah, once especially after the muff, you're like, what more could go wrong in about a 5-minute span? But the reason I brought up the fans is, yes, I thought, okay, Malik was nervous. He muffed the punt. It happens. It's a very hard job. That's why not everyone can do it. Now we'll get to the second one after a while, but and a lot of people, I want to talk about this as well. Don't let me forget. A lot of people are saying it didn't really affect us. Like they didn't score based off the muff punts.
Sure.
I don't agree with that, but I guess we'll kind of save that.
Again, I mean, an opportunity for us to have possibly scored
having the ball
and just the momentum of
the
defense
game. Stays off the field. There's so many reasons why that matters so much to not muff a punt. But anyway, LSU goes into the half. It's only 7-3. All that it just seemed like Florida never had these big mistakes. Yeah, they kicked the ball out of bounds on 2 kickoffs, whatever. They were scrambling on offense, but it seemed like we couldn't tackle them at times, and it just
the quarterback was good. It was hard to bring him down. I mean, it was hard to bring him down. We come out of the half and they go 14 plays, 7-minute drive, 70 yards, and kick a field goal. And like, even though good stop by our defense to hold them to a field goal, but that play, I mean, I think that just kind of started to wear on our defense. I mean, that was a good drive by them, and couldn't get off the field on third down, and that was pretty disappointing. And I think the loss of Mason Smith definitely affects that.
Yeah, I will say, and I mean, I wanted to get to this. And I mean, this might be a hot take, even though I did not see anybody calling for his head. I was a fan. I thought the defensive game plan was good. I thought Madhouse brought blitzes. The blitzes got pressure. I thought just sometimes the quarterback
We
Jordan
whiffed
Travis
on
was
them. Yeah,
it was just. But you couldn't. There were very few times where you could say he sat back there with a clean pocket and like picked us apart. He kind of made plays happen, kept his cool, and hit guys. You don't get into third and longs like I mean, obviously we need to work on third down, but you don't get to third and longs without having a good and first and second down by the defense.
Yeah, and I think you're right, Rory. I mean, I think the fact that they and we were going to get to this as well. I think the fact that Florida State didn't have a 3 and out until the fourth quarter is good for our defense. That doesn't sound like a good stat, right? Like normally you'd want a third and out like sooner than that. But the fact that they were only able to score 24 points on us the whole game, I mean, given the time of possession that they had, I mean, they had the ball for a larger portion of the game than us.
Yeah,
and to be able to hold them for
10-minute disparity, which is a lot.
To be able to hold them to 24 points, given that the fact that they were able to run all over us and we were still able to contain it with points, like just because a team runs for a bunch of yards or kind of shreds us in the intermediate passing game, or the quarterback runs for a first down a couple times in a drive, doesn't necessarily mean that they're running up the score on us.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
And I mean, this is when the problems started to pile up, because like you said, we didn't have a 3 and out, but offense came out, went 3 and out. We're only on the field for a minute. And then Florida State goes down, 8 plays, 57 yards, touchdown. We'll talk about position by position at the end, but like we have inexperienced linebackers, in my opinion. Like Greg Penn, who I think could be a really good player, but this was his first like real starting game. I know he played at the end of last year, but and in the bowl game, and then the DBs, like this is a group of DBs that, and with the safety Joe Fouché suspended, and Seven Banks not even dressed out. Like this is a really thin group. And Jay Ward and Major Burns, I think, led the defense in tackles. And this defense that maybe will happen some games, but like I don't think you want your safeties leading the team in tackles. And so I think that it's going to be a struggle in the secondary at times, and the defensive line's going to have to get better and going to have to create their own pass rush.
Yeah, I mean, I agree for sure. And I mean, to get after that 3 and out, you see Florida State with a quick 8-play, 2-minute drive. Completed got 3rd and 10. They got a first down, and then 3rd and 4, they scored a touchdown. But I mean, the defense, I think everybody in the stadium felt deflated. You go down, what was that, 17-3. I mean, I felt deflated. After the first 3 and out, the way the offenses looked, you feel like, I mean, there's no way, nothing good's going to happen. Like, might as well just pack it up and go home. And you come out and put a very good drive together, quick plays, 10 plays, 4 minutes. You get 2 penalties to help out, but I mean, both those were maybe
the penalties were really helpful. Yeah,
maybe the roughing the passer was iffy, but I mean, the pass interference was definitely there. But you put together a very, very good drive, punch it in
on 4th down,
and get yourself a chance.
Yeah, that was a huge drive. I mean, you had to give the defense a little rest, and they did. Jaden Daniels came through. Kane punched it in, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's a drive that you didn't have a 3rd down. Like, we played 1st and 2nd down until it got to the goal line.
Yeah.
That was the first 3rd down, was the 3rd and goal on the 2, which, I mean, which was terrible that they called for the review on that, but I understand.
Yeah,
Still
then
puts it in though.
and I really want to rewatch a couple of these drives defensively to see what has gone wrong. The 2 touchdown drives, but maybe Rory, you know, it's easier on TV to kind of see, but the next drive, they converted 2 third downs and they went 6 minutes and really took a lot of the wind out of our sails.
Yeah, and I think that's another one where we had, like a sack or we had something going in the backfield and just made a slippery play, either with a run or a good pass, And like y'all said earlier, like John said earlier, that intermediate pass game was killer. Um, I don't really know what, I don't know the Matt House scheme enough. It looked like they were playing zone and just attacking some zones. But I don't know the Matt House scheme enough to like really know whose fault that is or what's the problem. But there are definitely times you can see on TV where you have 2 guys, especially when you're going to play a zone, 2 guys way too close to each other, kind of covering up the same area, and then you have a Florida State guy just kind of get to a spot elsewhere and kind of make a play in that open area. So I think that's like an inexperienced thing, first game with a new coordinator, just some mental mistakes that we had. I mean, and that's going to happen. It's
Yeah,
it
I mean,
will.
was the D line on those 2 drives that they scored touchdowns on? Was the D line like still getting that same push? I mean,
In the second half, you definitely saw their runs went from getting like 1 to 2 yards every play to maybe getting like 5 or 6.
They were
They
just
definitely
gassed.
had some
yeah,
yeah. I mean, and that's going to happen later in the game. Teams just tired, especially on a defensive line that lost at that time. They had lost 2 guys.
yes,
You know,
yeah. I mean
2
that.
starters.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say. I mean, without Alec Gay and Mason Smith, I mean, if you told me before the game that we wouldn't have those 2, I wouldn't have picked us to win. I would have completely
Yeah,
flipped my pick. There's no doubt in my mind.
and we talked about it before when we were, on our off the chart segment. D line, very strong group, but it's at the top. Those the best guys are at the top. The top guys are very good. You had a few guys under there, but it kind of fell off. And
Yep.
I think that you just kind of had the same 4 or 5 minute rotation, and those guys, by that first, that last touchdown drive by Florida State, those guys are gassed.
Yeah. So to kind of reset, we're down 24-10, 8 minutes left in the game. LSU finally gets the ball back. Kayshawn gets his first catch of the game with 4 minutes left, which that will be something that we discuss afterward. Obviously, nobody thinks that's the way it should have gone, but all that to say, LSU drives down the field, puts together a great drive. Jare Jenkins gets a touchdown. We're at 24-17. Give Florida State back the ball, and that you get your first 3 and out with. I didn't realize it was even this late, but I have my notes like with 2 minutes left in the 4th, and I never would have thought that like if you'd told me that would have been a stat before the game, and I would have been advocating for Rory's spot that like the defensive scheme was pretty good. Like those 2 don't make sense, but in a weird way, it kind of makes sense to me given the amount of points and the amount of like they didn't kill us with yards or anything like that. They just grinded away at an inexperienced team, and
And
they stuck around.
they killed us on third down. I mean, the whole first half, it
Yeah.
was third down. Get the first down, a yard, second down, incomplete pass, or maybe another 2 yards on a run, third down, an 8-yard, 12-yard completion. And then
And,
it's like rinse and repeat.
yeah, and I mean, then there was times where our offensive line got run over. I mean, started with freshman at left tackle, and then Cam Wire got run over by with number 5 a couple times. So
yeah, that dude is very good. They were talking about him on the his last name Verse. Said he was like a wide
he's a
receiver.
transfer. Yeah, I think
Yeah, he played wide receiver like in high school. Now he's playing defensive end. That guy, I mean, he's a legit player. He's a very good player. I mean, Cam Wire did get destroyed a few times, but and the last drive of the game, once he gave up that sack, I didn't have much hope.
Yeah.
So we get the 3 and out, we get the ball back, we give it back to them. And then that's when things started to get kind of crazy, right?
Well, that's when we fumbled the.
Right. They fumbled on the goal line.
Yeah,
on the
well, we
pitch
3 and
play.
out, and then we fumbled the punt.
Right.
Yep.
So you muff punt number 2, which you're like, I was sitting next to, I was sitting next to them, and I said, there's no way he muffs another punt. So I will throw my hand up for that, and admit that the that one might be on me. Second muff of the game, not very helpful to the situation. Give the ball back to Florida State, and to be honest with you, after the call that Florida State made on the goal line with the pitch. Sorry, that was a voice crack. But with the pitch to the running back, and then he fumbles, it was like a gift from the football gods. I think that's what T-Bob was calling it. That was what T-Bob was calling it. We get the ball back on the 1. They were saying, like, I mean, and I completely agree. Like, that was, why would you ever pitch the ball on the 1 yard line?
Move.
Why would you not kick the field goal, go up 10 points with a minute left? Best case scenario, LSU drives the ball down the field, scores a touchdown. It takes them at least a minute to do that anyway, and then you just burn the clock. Like, it just, to me, it just didn't make. I didn't even think about it during the game, but when I went back, I'm like, how are you not more protective of the ball with a minute left? Like,
yeah, I mean, that was crazy. I was just like, we were in shock. I mean, I was like, I can't believe that.
Also, on the broadcast, and I agree. They said let them score, which is true. Like you let them score, you at least have, because it really should have been over. They could have just kneeled the ball 3 times, take a field goal, like you said, and you have like 30 seconds left. But you let them score, and then you at least have whatever it was, a minute 50 to try to score twice, try to get an onside kick. But like, it really was a gift from the football gods, and we wasted it.
It was just boneheaded. Like, that's the word I like to use to describe calls like that. But
yeah, I mean,
you get the literal drive of the game from
90 seconds left
from the team that ends up losing. I think everybody would agree that Jaden Daniels threw it together, the resolve of the team to be able to come back and drive down the field when your weapons are not working, your offensive line is getting blown up, and the poise that Jaden Daniels shown getting the ball down the field. You get the ball to Mason Taylor. You kind of had the controversial, was he down, was he not, before he got out of bounds. I still don't fully understand why they gave us another play. I believe it was because Florida State called a timeout directly after that.
Well, it was like, the thing was after the review, we were going to have time because it was a first down, so you have to move the chain. So we had time.
Snap.
They were saying LSU has time for one more play. So they're going to give them one more play, just snap the ball. So that's why Florida State just called the timeout. LSU has that one play no matter what. Like,
I think he probably thought he was out of bounds, right?
Well, they thought he was out of bounds at first. And
right.
Then once you go to review.
But he would have never called the timeout if he would have thought that he was in bounds, because then the clock would just run out, correct?
Well, I mean, you have time to snap the ball. You can't spike it, though. Shout out Les.
Yeah, you can't spike it.
Oh, yeah. I did forget about it. I
think
that
was NFL. Dak did that, too.
I mean,
that was the Flava Flav game, the meme.
This was the last game of the year. Last game you ever coached at LSU.
Yeah. So, anywho, yes. So the football gods gift us another one by the coach calling a timeout, thinking that our guy's out of bounds.
No, that's not what happened.
Yeah,
that's not what happened.
He just explained what happened.
That's not what happened.
Well, he called a timeout.
So,
how bad was it listening to Joe Tessitore? Just 1 to 10.
I really like. The thing is, I barely even listen. Like, you listen to him a little bit, but like once we got down, it's like,
yeah,
they go out of my mind, and I'm just watching football.
I mean, I like Herb Street, but Tessitore, like, if someone gets a first down, it's like Mike Tyson knocks someone out. It's like, I relax, bro.
It was also like Greg McElroy, like it's not McElroy. It's
I
like,
think it is like it's something like that. Yeah.
but
it's like
who went to Alabama? So it's
Yeah.
like I don't really want to listen to this guy. But
when you get a first down, you don't need a knockout punch like scream like when a team gets a first down on 3rd and 8 or whatever.
But Dre Jenkins, I mean, he made some huge catches throughout the game. He made tough catches on 3rd down and
the
stuff.
receiver of the game.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, his second touchdown catch comes on 4th and goal, and I mean, what a great job by Jane Daniels. He just like even I've rewatched some of the games. Him talking to people on the sideline, he does seem like a great leader, and really special drive for him to put together.
And he missed, like, I will say, like, I'm not going to sit here and just, like, say he played a perfect game because he didn't. He missed some passes. And I think at first he had, like, some ants in his pants, you know? But how could you not have ants in your pants when the offensive line was playing that bad in the first half? I think the offensive line kind of got it together in the second half, and he doesn't take off his run as often because he doesn't feel the need.
And I think you're right too. I mean, it's kind of a chain reaction. Like when your offensive line's getting blown up, you see your quarterback scrambling, you want to run your routes quickly, and you're limited by time and speed to be able to run your routes. And it's just like the whole atmosphere and the whole game plan wasn't tailored to the strengths and weaknesses of our team, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you also see like that ability to run the football like he can, I mean, is a special ability, and it brings a wrinkle to the game. Defenses have to plan for that.
I mean, he takes one step and he's past the some of the fastest defensive linemen there is. I mean, he's that quick.
It was like the first play. I mean, he runs for 25 yards on first.
You saw on the first play why he was the starter.
Yes,
I mean, you saw it on the first play.
And trust me, I have it written down, and I'm not going to forget. Like the quarterback battle, we will get to. Whether people think Nussmeier should come in or whatever, but
let's let Roy talk about the missed extra point.
Yeah, how did that feel?
Oh yeah,
John and I kind of talked about it yesterday in the car back.
How'd that feel from the comfort of your own home? And I was in
honestly, I've never been happier to not be watching an LSU game live than I was after that. I could not imagine the misery of walking out of that stadium, trying to find a way home, trying to I'm sure the thing is, like, you can't even buy the $1, $2 canned beers that the illegal vendors are selling on the street because they're already bought up by the time you get out there because people just want to drink their sorrows away. So I can't imagine a worse place to be there than like at the game. So I was so glad I was at home. But I was saying, like, thinking back on it, the thing that surprises me the most is that it was the same place, and I mean, this is on Brian Polian. It was the same, which I don't even put it on Mason Taylor and Emory Jones, Catholic High, which is, between them, that's where the gap, where the guy came through. But you had that first block in the first half, and the guy came through the same gap.
Yeah,
like, I don't got to be thinking at halftime that Brian Polian sat down. I mean,
they said that they made a personnel change on the left side. Now I haven't gone back and rewatched the first blocked kick, but I don't know who the personnel change was, but they made a personnel change to the left side. Also, in my opinion, this is on Brian Polian, but Mason Taylor should not be playing special teams. He's going to have to be our starting tight end this year. Let's get somebody else out there and put him out there. I mean, I know they might want him in there for faking it and running trick plays, but like he's got a lot on his plate. And the same thing I thought about Besh last year. It's like, why do they have him on every special teams unit? This dude has. I mean, Besh was playing 2 positions last year, so I don't get that either.
I mean, I just think like I put that last block on the shoulders of Brian Polian just because it's the same spot. So you got to be, and you have a whole halftime. It's not like, it was the same quarter or anything like that. You had a whole halftime where you went in the locker room, you grabbed those 2 guys that were playing that left side and were like, hey, They obviously want to come here. Be ready because they're going to do it again. It worked once. They're going to do it again. You need to shore this up. Get them on their technique and make sure it doesn't happen again. And then it happened again. You know, It-
It was it was so deflating. To be honest with you, I kind of freaked out whenever we scored the touchdown. I was like, wow, we actually just did the improbable driving down when we really hadn't been able to get it going all game. And the same people next to me were like, dude, we still got to kick the extra point.
We were sitting there like, well, hold on, this is.
And I was like, and it was the same thing I said. I didn't say it this time because I'd already messed up neighbors, but it was the same thing. Like, there's no way this happens twice. And it did. And it hurt. And it like at first I thought he just shanked it. And I was so relieved whenever it was blocked. But then when I saw it was blocked in the same way that it was before, it was quite concerning. And the thing is, like, as we wrap up just the play-by-play basically recap, it's like all of this is stuff that was just self-inflicted, but not very difficult decision making. A few quick decisions, and this game is won in the way that we all kind of predicted it would be.
yeah.
Like a few quick decisions. Yes, our defense we couldn't get off the field on third down. Yes, our offensive line was getting blown up. Yes, Jaden Daniels was running for his life. Yes, our receivers weren't very involved because our quarterback was running all over the field. Yes, we had a few special teams errors in the first half. Then we had the same exact ones in the second half. It just all came together, and it feels like if we would have had a week 0 game, it feels like this is all stuff that could have been ironed out. Like I still, even with the loss of Mason Taylor, even with the ejection of Ali Gay, like the only problem I have with that, one, it is literally the Webster's definition of targeting. Two,
it really was.
It's like in basketball. If you're going to go for a foul, you better make sure they don't get the and one, right? They scored a touchdown, a 35 or whatever yard touchdown after you almost concussed their quarterback. I get it. It was a frustration play. It's football, whatever. But it's those little mistakes that I feel like are very easy to iron out. That made all the difference in the game. It wasn't like we're just a horrible team.
Yeah, but there is still
mistakes.
going to be a talent gap in us and a lot of teams, and that's kind of what I wanted. That's why I want to kind of go position by position and talk about it. And
well, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I do want to go ahead and I think we're probably gonna we got to do the House Always Win segment this week.
I was saying, aren't we doing college football and NFL picks?
Yes, but we're gonna clean up the play-by-play recap with a little work box.
We were down in New Orleans. I was seeing porta potties. I was looking around, going, there is not enough work box porta potties around here. They're the cleanest in the business. If you need a storage container, a portable office, they're really cool. I saw some pictures on Instagram. Portable restroom rentals or a roll-off dumpster. Call Workbox LLC. Ask for Martine. It is 225-343-4886. If you need a portable potty, you need a portable office, you need a portable restroom rental, a roll-off dumpster, a storage container, call Martine at Workbox. It's 225-343-4886.
It's funny. I've never actually thought just made the connection that it's called a porta potty because it's portable. Yeah. So you taught me something new today, James.
You're welcome.
I just called you James. That was odd. All right. So, let's kind of zoom out from the game, look at position by position, where we really need to improve, where the season goes from here.
Yeah.
And then we'll kind of give final thoughts on a few miscellaneous things from the game and going forward.
Yeah. So let's start on offense, since a lot of people are screaming for Booty to get the ball. He had 6 targets, tied for most on the team with Mason Taylor. 6 targets, 2 catches. So he did, he was essentially leading the team in targets in the receiver room. We'll just include tight ends in this. Mason Taylor, 6 targets, 5 catches. Jeray Jenkins, and Tom had 5 targets, 5 catches, and had some great catches. Brian is next step. And we know we need to get that dog out of him, as the kids are saying these days. And Malik Neighbors too. Great hands. Really unfortunate what he did.
It's crazy how it's like,
yeah.
And they kept going back to him. They kept going back to him on offense right after both of them off.
And I love how they went back to him on that final drive. I mean, that's Malik Neighbors is going to have to be the star on another star on this offense, and Booty's going to have to like wake up and play like an All-American, because I mean his draft stock isn't high right now. He doesn't really have a draft stock in my opinion, because coming off a surgery that didn't heal properly, where he had to get it refixed, and then not really having any production this year, he won't get drafted high, or maybe even drafted at all. So he's going to have to step up. I know people are freaking out about social media or whatever. I think a couple of the receivers did that. I think that's just,
Is that them going into zero dark 30 mode?
They're going to, hopefully they're locking in.
They're doing the LeBron strive for greatness.
But I think Booty will be fine. I mean, he's going to, he can't transfer. So everyone's been texting me, asking me if he's going to transfer. He can't transfer. It's not even possible. And he needs to raise his draft stock. And I think you'll see him more involved in the game plan. I think that, he may have been punished for a little bit during this game. I haven't watched the second half. Some people said he wasn't in on some drives. Rewatch the second half. And then
that first drive of the second half, I think that first touchdown drive, he didn't come into the end. He missed the first.
I think Kyron Lacey, Cole Taylor, Jack Besh, and Armani Goodwin all had 1 catch on 1 target. So that's kind of the breakdown of receiver. I still think this room is going to have to be elite and be the best room on the offense if we're gonna win 7 games this year.
And one thing, I mean, I guess we can talk about it later, but I like the even distribution. You have 4 or 5 guys with 5 receptions.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're going to see out of this room, besides maybe the booty going off, or the booty going off.
The booty's going off.
And I do have a question. We're going to just do the tight ends and wide receivers together, because apparently Mason Taylor was in a boot. I don't think that anybody asked Brian Kelly about that. That is not good. He's clearly our best tight end, the freshman. And Cole Taylor, only 1 catch. I don't really think he's the greatest receiving target ever. And Besh, only 1 target playing receiver. Do they slide him into the Mason Taylor role? I don't know. I think it's probably something they need to think about, because the wide receiver room, kind of the same as last year, is deep enough, but the tight end room is very thin.
Yeah. I mean, also, I think that, everybody, and I think that everybody walked away impressed with Mason Taylor, like we were after we watched practice, like Brian Kelly was talking about. I mean, he looks like a stud, very good tight end. Was happy to see him get the ball and make plays with the ball. I mean, I was kind of nervous that last one. I was not looking at the clock for that last play of the game, and I did not realize that he was that close to potentially like having 0 time left.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was a little too close for comfort. He almost scored that though. He kind of slipped before. If he doesn't,
I thought
slip,
he was going to go like straight
get
to the
in.
end zone. Yeah. What do you think about Besh at tight end? Either of y'all?
I mean, I agree completely, and we talked about that. When we talked about tight ends, I think if one injury goes down,
we talked about the freshman having to play a physical, hard schedule. It's just like, I don't know. I mean, it probably would suck for him, but I think that he's a smart enough player to learn the position and get Mason Taylor off special teams. What if he gets hurt on special teams? Like, there's got to be a walk-on Stores or somebody you can put out there to play, to help in field goal protection, because I don't know. I think you gotta try to keep a freshman tight end healthy. And The tight ends and we moved to running back, and the running backs did not block well. They also had trouble. That did not help the offensive line. That's going to have to improve, and I think that it will.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think obviously with John Emery coming back, he was going to be the guy. I think having that threat to come out of the backfield, maybe check down too, might have helped Jaden Daniels out a little bit more. The whole problem is that the weaknesses, and Brian Kelly even said it. I watched his press conference, after the game, and he said, he was like, we didn't go into camp like thinking that we had these holes and that we were just going to roll with them or whatever. Like, they got exposed during the game. I think the one thing that LSU fans can I guess take solace in is that Brian Kelly is actually going to make changes, and our offensive line is what it is. It's young. It's not the best. We were getting blown up against Florida State, against the Bamas of the world. We're going to have a heck of a time. What you have to do is not just say, oh, we hope they get better and stronger and faster and make the right decisions. You got to cater the offense knowing that they are going to struggle at times. And I think adding that extra threat of hopefully John Emery will be back after the Southern game.
Yeah, you just need a dynamic player at that position. And Kane, I thought, did a decent job, and Armani Goodwin did a decent job. But, like, Josh Williams looked small out there when he was in. This is – you really got to hope Emery comes back and is that dynamic star, because we need another element to the offense, like you said.
And I wouldn't be alarmed at the lack of rushing yards. I mean, the second half, you have to throw the ball just away. We're down. You got to throw the football. You're not going to really run it that much. So I wouldn't be alarmed that Jaden Daniels was the leading rusher this game. But I don't think that's I don't think that you can continue to do that going forward.
Luffy, next position group.
Yeah, I mean, I think we don't need to talk about this that much. Jaden Daniels was, I thought, really good. His completion percentage was good. He was, I think, the highest graded running backs by a couple, quarterbacks by a couple of these adjusted numbers. He was like 87%, I think, his adjusted completion percentage, which just takes the drops and mistakes away that the receivers made, and he was, good. And I think it maybe takes like balls that he was just like throwing away, or whenever he was getting tackled and he threw that ball away. But I thought, I'm not really sure if he could have played any better in his first game. And this is their first game playing together. They've been practicing, but it's been a heated battle between him and Nuss. And I think that as the season goes along, he's going to be the quarterback. Brian Kelly said it today that he's QB1. So I think that's taken pressure off of him. And if they can have a good week this week, I think you'll see Nuss in the second half. And I think I think he's good. I mean, I think he's a good SEC QB. I think he could win us a lot of games. I don't think Jaden Daniels is the problem and will be the problem on this team like there's some other positions.
Rory?
I mean, yeah, and I was tweeting about it because y'all were at the game. I was on Twitter, but I tweeted about it a lot.
for that on Twitter the next day.
I mean, they had two people like arguing about it under one of my Jaden Daniels tweets. But I think to sit there and say that he played a bad game, and didn't deserve the starting job or wanted Nuss, like I just didn't see it. I don't believe it. And like I could not believe at half that people are calling for Nuss, which I mean we called it. We knew it was going to happen. It always happens. LSU fans, college football fans are like that. Clemson was the same thing with DJ. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Clemson's quarterback calling for the backup. People are going to call for the backup always, unless your quarterback's, the best of the best. But I thought he played very well. I didn't really see too many mistakes. I mean, you got to run in the first half. Yeah, you're not going to hit the guy 50 yards downfield for the bomb when you got three people in your face. It's just not going to happen. No quarterback. You put Miles Brennan back there. I mean, I don't know if we gain a yard. And you put Nuss back there and significantly worse. I don't think we get into the red zone twice like we did. Just the way the offensive line was playing, kind of played a little bit better in the second half, and you saw Jaden Daniels start hitting his wide receivers, playing a little better, not running so much, but still having his legs when there's a big hole or the play kind of busts or kind of breaks up. He still had that option to go to his legs. It wasn't the first thing in the second half. So I thought he played very well. I think he deserved a starting job.
Yeah, and the tempo and stuff helped, and I think they learned that. I think the offensive staff learned that. I think the tempo helps the offensive line as well. To get to them, I think that they will get better. They're going to have to get better. Campbell's first start, he'll get better. I think that at guard, it was Frazier and Shorts and not Bradford after in like the second quarter. Do you remember? I mean, it's so hard for me to tell personnel when
it was Shorts. Shorts played.
It was Shorts and Frazier. Was Bradford out in that most of the second half?
I believe so. I mean, I know it was Frazier for at least two of the. I mean, they only had 4 drives, so I think it was Frazier. I mean, not Frazier. I mean, Frazier was in, but Bradford was out for at least 2 out of the 4 drives. I don't remember the other 2, but
and
2 out of the 4 drives for sure.
I think Dellinger will get better. It's a weird thing snapping the ball for the first time. He's got a lot on his plate. It was loud in there. I mean, I think that hurt us a lot. But I think he could be a pretty good center.
Yeah. I think, these are your best 5 or 6 guys. So what you're going to get is what you're going to get here. I think there's no doubt that these are the guys.
Yeah, I thought Cam Wire had a rough game, and Campbell had his moments, but I think those 2 guys will get better.
I think the only person that I'm significantly worried about is Cam Wire. It's just you're a 5th-year man, can't be jumping off sides. You can't. You got to play like a 5th year. I'm not saying you need to be an All-American, not saying you need to be All SEC, but you need to be Austin Deckfields. You need to be a solid guy who plays well. I'm not expecting you to be a first-round pick, but you got to play better.
Yes. And, Luffy, me and you came back early to Baton Rouge with our tail between our legs after a weekend in New Orleans. But I did go home and watch a lot of shows, and opinions, and breakdowns, and I watched Brian Kelly's press conferences and everything. And I want to shout out 2 of the dumbest things I heard yesterday.
Okay,
if that's okay with y'all.
Go ahead.
Skip Bayless. It happens to be 2 guys on the same show, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp.
It's not even a real show, but I thought you were going to say
So I want to say this was this one was after, in the conversation, this was after Shannon Sharp said something dumb, but Skip Bayless said he gave a pretty zoomed out view of the game and had no knowledge or stats
they didn't watch the game
involved to back anything up. But he said Skip Bayless said Jaden Daniels was horrible for most of the game. So that just tells me that he just didn't watch.
Those guys, they don't watch.
I get it. They got a bunch of games and they're trying to do it. Well, Shannon Sharp shortly before that said he made a great point. He was like, "Oh my goodness, why would they call a pitch on the goal line with a minute left? Why did they not just kick the field goal?" And I was like, wow, Shannon, I agree with you on that. And then he went on to say, but I mean, come on, man. Brian Kelly is getting paid $100 million to coach LSU, and he can't even beat Florida State. Just with no context to the fact that
their show should be just named Lazy Takes.
It was just with no context to the fact that with all the rebuilding that Brian Kelly has had to do, and the first game in the Dome, Florida State gave no credit to them, just said they were bad. So anyway, I just thought it was funny that to Skip Bayless by far was just that. I couldn't believe he said it. He said he was horrible for the game. And to the people that think Jaden Daniels played horrible, I mean, it's I had somebody at work today say that that he played horrible as well. And it's like, how could you play good with 6 300-pound dudes running through your line and you have a second to throw the ball? And I did notice, and I was frustrated during the game. It did feel like Jaden Daniels, if he didn't get his first read, he was out of there. But the more you start to watch the film, the more you realize he had to, or he was going to get pummeled. So anyway, I think that about sums it up. I don't like the stat as well that the SEC went 13-1 on opening weekend. The one loss being LSU. But I don't think this season's gone. I don't think we should lose hope. There's all the anecdotes out there of Les Miles losing a bad game his first year, Nick Saban losing a bad game. I don't even feel like we need to go there. I think you're gonna see actual improvement from this team from week to week. We got 2 weeks till Mississippi State. We got Southern this weekend. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it. It will be electric. It is going to be nuts kind of seeing Baton Rouge, the two I would say main schools in Baton Rouge. They are the two main universities in Baton Rouge coming together in Tiger Stadium. Campus is going to be electric. I haven't checked the weather yet, but we're tailgating regardless. And I'm excited to see the human jukebox.
I think, last thoughts, before we move on.
Are we going to do defense or no? Not really.
I mean, we talked about linebackers. We talked about defense line.
D-line, yeah. Corners were really thin. That's the someone goes down, if another player goes down, we're in serious trouble, especially when they're playing better wide receivers. Their wide receivers made some nice plays, but I don't think the speed was quite like we're about to have to see.
And I will say that they called a pretty lax game for sure. There were definitely some plays that LSU could have been called for pass interference. They kind of let both teams play, which isn't very promising because you're not going to always get that. But I thought Mekhi Garner played well. They attacked him a lot, but, I mean, he looks like a player. The safeties looked good. Jay Ward's all over the place. But, yeah, I think it's a thin position, like you said, and it's just going to be like that all year. But my last thoughts, I think we just shot ourselves in the foot, made some critical mistakes. I don't know. It didn't really feel like coaching mistakes to me. I think maybe the team not having the right mindset, not being fully prepared. I think that's a coaching mistake. I think it's also the first game for a brand new head coach with a brand new football team, all new transfers. So I think that's kind of, going to come. I don't think anything would ever have been perfect on the mental mistake side. So I think you clean up the mental mistakes, and I think you have a solid team. Mike Denbrock, was his offensive game plan perfect? No. But I really didn't see too many flaws with it, It obviously could have been better, but at the end of the day, you're down the red zone twice. You kick a field goal once because you have a bad snap. If you don't have the bad snap, you have 2nd and 5. And then the next time you go down the red zone, you get a false start, and your star receiver drops a touchdown. That's not Mike Denbrock's fault. And then you come back in the second half, and you score on 3 out of the 4 drives we had. I can't sit here and say that he's the reason we lost or he called an awful game. He called the plays to make that minute 20 drive. And I really just didn't see any problems. There weren't. It never really felt like we were losing because of the offense or defensive coordinator. It just felt like we made mistakes with new players and just kind of shot ourselves in the foot. Same thing with Matt House. I think I talked about it earlier. I thought he coached well. Thought he brought pressure, which I like to see. Make a guy make decisions, because the thing is, you're not always going to run into Florida State's quarterback who played very well. You're going to run into college quarterbacks who can't do that, who can't make decisions on the fly, and get rushed by the blitz. And it'll turn out better for you. You know, I think the third down is obviously a thing, but they know that. You know, they're not going to go into the next game not knowing that third down's a problem. So, and if you make those sacks and get pressure on the quarterback, even with a blitz, you know, third down doesn't become a problem because you know they're passing the ball. You know you can get to them. You know, so.
I think we was pretty. I think it's still football season. It's still time of year. To all the people that we saw over the weekend. Out at the stadium. It really does like make our day. Like when people come up and say that they listen to an episode and we just kind of chop up our thoughts on the game and whatnot. Sorry, Roy, I just couldn't overcome that. But anyway, all that to say, it was a good weekend nonetheless. We still had to get up and go to work today, so that LSU losing by 1 in a heartbreaking fashion didn't change that. So with that, we hope to see everybody out there on Saturday. I will try to get a weather update, but I think we need to go ahead and move on to the House Always Wins segment. But before we do that, I want to give a huge shout out to DraftKings. DraftKings is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and DraftKings wants you to know that if you use our promo code BOOT, BOOT, you can put $5 on the Saints Week 1 matchup with the Falcons, and you will win $200 in free bets. I don't even know. I don't even think it says if you win. I think you might just be able to put $500 and you get, or $5 on the Saints and you get $200 in free bets if you bet with promo code BOOT. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code BOOT. Throw down $5. Get $200 in free bets no matter what. It's promo code BOOT this Sunday. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. 21 plus restrictions apply. See show notes for details. And shout out to the presenting sponsor of tailgate season. Jeff is the man over there. Jeff and Casey, they want you to know that the House Bar has been popping lately. Game days, first home game of the year this weekend. House Bar is going to be popping all day. You can follow them on social media at House in Tigerland on Instagram, Facebook, and on Twitter at Tigerland House. We actually hit Jeff up today, and he helped us out big time with the tailgates coming up. We are looking forward to it, and hopefully we'll get over to the House Bar in Tigerland. And with that, it is time for the House Always Wins segment, the famous segment where we put our gambling knowledge to the test. I would just like to say, I'm going to let y'all pick first, but things are a little bit different now with my sports betting for the year. So,
Have John's dinner present.
Some ice soup will be eaten for dinner for the next couple weeks. If I'm lucky, I might get a little bit of an extra little bit of air and some oxygen. And I get to be around you guys. That's pretty much my dinner. I might get a few laughs. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that.
All right, so we doing a college and NFL?
Yes. So
Yeah.
First, say your college pick from last week. We're going to do two separate. Did you do a college pick last week?
That wasn't LSU?
Rory,
I
did
know
you?
I did.
was yours,
I had Arkansas minus 6.5. Arkansas hit.
Damn, who did I do? I'm gonna have to review the tape on mine.
All right. No doctor in the tape.
I mean, I'm just
But
Arkansas
I'm
minus
gonna keep my
6.5.
record.
That one.
Yeah. All right, you got us. All right.
I'm keeping the whole record, so that way y'all can't.
Did I think was it Vandy? I think it was Vandy.
Sounds right.
I'm pretty sure it was. Did Vandy? I think they.
We're gonna check the tape.
I don't know what happened.
We're gonna have to get a third party review to check the tape. I'll get my dad to do it when we get home.
I'll go first.
I think.
So for my college, I'm going App State plus 17
Whoa!
again
Wow!
against A&M. You
I
had that one too?
I was between two, and
I mean, you can have the same pick. It's
no,
season
no,
long.
Yeah.
no. I was going to go the other way. Um,
I
Oh,
watched
head to
that, and
head.
I know. Oh, you're going A&M. Wow. Okay.
you want to
I
go head to
watched.
head, or do you want
Yeah,
me
I'm
to go with
down.
my other pick? All right, we'll
Well,
go head
I'll
to head.
give you. I mean, we can go ahead. It doesn't matter.
All right.
We guarantee a winner then.
Yeah, guaranteed someone wins
All
a
right,
college
all right.
football bet.
No, we're not doing that. I don't want any guaranteed winners. I want the record to show that we know what we're doing. So
uh, so I know y'all probably didn't see it. I mean, y'all were out tailgating, but I watched Texas A&M
Yeah,
Saturday during the day.
I
Or I
watched a
mean,
little
maybe
bit.
y'all saw it. Yeah, because it was Saturday. I forgot we played Sunday. I watched that Texas A&M game Saturday during the day. They did not look good. I just don't believe in them. And App State lost a big game. I think they'll be ready to play, even though it is kind of a letdown spot. I don't believe in Texas A&M. I don't think that they can cover the plus 17. Um, and then we'll do all college and then come back to NFL.
yes,
All right, I got Bama minus 20.
dude. I'm not letting y'all go.
They
I'm not letting
might.
y'all go first again.
You can pick the same pick.
No, we're not doing that.
Sark might die on the sideline.
Dude, I already had it written down in black ink.
We're gonna
Dude,
be
no,
picking all year.
Yeah, we're gonna be picking all year.
Yeah.
We have two different. We got to pick college
I don't
and
like
NFL
having the same
all year.
picks, man.
Well, I mean, we're not gonna have the same picks every week.
Yeah.
All right, I guess I guess your
You can take it,
explanation is
take
my
it.
explanation.
You can take it, yeah.
All right, fine. Same pick.
All right, and then I'll start off with my NFL pick. Yeah, I mean the NFL, we're definitely have the same picks because we're gonna like the same stuff.
I didn't know that. But whatever.
I think, and this might be a consensus pick. No, actually, I'm pulling away. I'm gonna do Ravens minus 6.5 at Jets. I really wanted to do Saints, but Saints Falcons. Weird things happen when we play the Falcons. Uh, I'm not saying that we won't win, but weird things happen. So I'm gonna take the Ravens minus 6.5 against the Jets. Um, I think Lamar Jackson first game of the year gonna be good.
All right, I have the Panthers minus 1. It is a redemption game. The Panthers might be the worst team in the league. I'm not sure, but Baker Mayfield going against the Browns, his old team. I like betting these games that are like redemption games, and it is in Carolina.
Yeah, I like that pick. So I guess I'll have to find another pick now since you took my second one. So I thought about taking the Packers minus 2 against the Vikings.
Your team.
Do I start off the year betting on the Packers, or I'm gonna be doing it all
John,
year?
you're a cheesehead.
I am. I'm not like Lil Wayne. I'm not from New Orleans, but I've been a Packers fan. That's not me. Shout out Lil Wayne, come on the show. I'm gonna start us. All right, screw it. I'm gonna start us off on Thursday night football, first game of the season. Over 52 points, Bills Rams. It wouldn't be right if I didn't start the NFL season with an over. That probably won't hit. So I'm going to be ecstatic at kickoff, and I feel like these are the two teams that are poised to put up a lot of points. Obviously, the Bills are pretty much the number one fantasy offense that I'm seeing from fantasy drafts this year. So everybody wants Josh Allen. So Bills Rams over 52 Thursday night football. Lock it in before the game. I think we did it. I think we did it. Hour 15. Thank you guys so much for listening. We cannot thank y'all enough. Like we said, it was great seeing everybody on Sunday, tailgating and whatnot. We hope to see y'all in the coming weeks. We will be out there on Saturday setting up a tailgate. Make sure to come by. I might have a jambalaya being in the mix to be cooked. We'll see. It's got the secret ingredient of the Dupre family in it. It's not very secret, but the proportions of the recipe are secret. I actually tried to get it out of Matt Dupre on Sunday. Shout out Matt Dupre. He wouldn't give it to me. But it was great to see everybody. LSU football is back. The NFL is here. It's the greatest time of year. It's starting to cool off. That's exciting. Shout out to the House Bar in Tigerland, Workbox LLC, Blaine Lee with Keller Williams Realty. Also want you to know that Keller Williams is a unique opportunity housing partner. Each office is independently owned or operated. DraftKings and the Boot Crew Media Network. And if LSU loses to Southern this weekend, we actually will be talking about like the shows coming out this fall.
House of Dragon.
We will be doing a whole hand up right here. If LSU loses to Southern in Tiger Stadium this weekend, we will do an hour recap and thoughts of the House of Dragon episodes up to this point and what we want to see in the future. Does that sound fair?
Good.
All right. Deal's a deal.